Welcome back to the Pagan Perspective. And it is not Thursday, it's actually early Friday morning. I'm your Thursday host, Yaka. Last night I tried the record and upload directly to YouTube function, and somehow the video got eaten. So I'm going to record again now. Hopefully, I know Megan is in the next, is a few time zones later, so hopefully this won't step on her toes too much. But this week we are talking about a topic that I think is really important, so I didn't want to miss it this week. And that is to do with white supremacy and our role as a community, as the pagan community, in addressing misconceptions about religions within the pagan umbrella, and our role in calling out extremism in our community when we see it. So first off, the other hosts have done an excellent job. So I really encourage watching their videos. And instead of rehashing what they have already so eloquently said, I'm just going to take a few minutes to, instead of going through the whole thing, just to talk about those last two questions. Before I get into that, though, of course, I need to say that white supremacy is harmful to everybody, to all the groups. And frankly, it's pretty intellectually lazy, too. So I just wanted to put that out there that, no way would I, ever support that or think that it's a positive or good thing. And I think it's important that people, say that and be very clear about that. So anyways, about our role in correcting misconceptions. For this topic was specifically looking at folks at Odinism and how that is something that, let's see, you can't actually see me when I do that. How about this here? How some groups, some supremacists have sort of latched onto that and have their own way of representing it. What do we do when we come across people who that's their only perception and are talking about Odinism in that way? And not just in Odinism or white supremacy, when it's any other group, whether that be something that's pagan, or if somebody's talking about Islam that way, or talking about any group of people that way. I think that it's not just a pagan thing to address that. I think that's just a decent person thing to stand up for that, for someone when they're being misrepresented. Saying something like, hey, that really doesn't reflect my experience with Odinists. Or if you don't know Odinists, go, something along the lines of, from what I've read, that's a very small portion of Odinism, and, they're really co-opting this much older religion to fit their particular views, something like that. But one of the things that I think is really important when we do call that sort of thing out is to try very hard not to make it seem like an attack. Not name calling, not attacking the person for having those opinions, or really attacking the group, because the moment we make it an attack, it's really hard in the moment of confrontation when you are being confronted by something, a misconception you have or a different point of view, to separate one's self from the ideas that we have. And even though personally I believe that those are separate things, we aren't the same thing as our ideas. In the moment, it's, we can really respond emotionally as though we personally are being attacked, even when that's not the case. And when we respond defensively, that shuts down a lot of our ability to really think critically and to be receptive. So if we want somebody to hear the message that we're telling them, like, hey, that doesn't represent all of Odinism, or that doesn't, that's not what most of Islam's like, when people do their ridiculous attacks on it as though the whole religion is full of terrorists or ridiculous stuff like that. Um, and I'm speaking kind of freely with you guys about this. If somebody was saying that to me in person in earnest, I would be very careful about the way I addressed that, but I'd make sure to address it, because they're not going to be able to hear it if they feel attacked. So it can be really tricky, especially often when we hear things like that. We become defensive because we want to defend them. So taking those deep breaths, and trying to be as compassionate as we can while still being very firm about it, I think is really critical. And that goes for as well when we see really harmful behaviors or ideas, like the extremist ones, about certain groups of people being better or certain groups of people being worse, or that we have to immediately be suspicious or treat somebody differently because of some quality. That standing up to those in a respectful way to the person, I think, is really important, so that that communication can happen. So, heavy topic this week. Thank you for being patient with this camera situation, and I am super excited for next week. I cannot wait to talk about next week's topic, and I hope all of you are having a fantastic autumn and change of seasons. So until next week.